Wilson. Oh! What a nail! As Jonathan Bostic gets separated Mike Willie from the football.
All right, you know what's poppin'. It's Fourth Quarter Boys Sports in the building once again. It is me, your illustrious host, Professor Lake, fresh out the kitchen. And today what we're going to do is we're going to preview the Bears versus Seahawks game. Bears home game opener. You know, that's going to be great. There's going to be a lot of energy in Soldier Field. So the Bears are coming off a tough loss in Green Bay, a division opponent. Really tough loss. The Bears came out phenomenal in the first half, offensively and defensively. We got to see Khalil Mack show us why he's a $141 million man. We've seen how he could affect the defensive front. A lot of those boys were getting off. Offensively, you really got to get a look at what Matt Nagy can do. Seen a little bit of growth in Mitchell Trubisky as well. When True knows what he's doing with the offense, it looks marvelous. In the second half, it wasn't so great when the defense adjusted and he had to make decisions on the fly. He just seemed inexperienced and a little timid under the bright lights. Defensively, you know, it was a 180 from the first half. I'm not going to blame the offense for having 3 and outs after 3 and outs, but the truth of the matter is when you're playing against a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, and you keep giving him opportunities to score, he's going to take advantage, and that's exactly what he did. So, getting into the Bears vs. Seahawks preview, I didn't mean to rant on the previous game that long, but just a couple more thoughts I wanted to add if you didn't catch my live stream after the Bears game. But Bears vs. Seahawks, all right, you know what I do, man. Before we get into that, you know what it is, Fourth Quarter Boys Sports. I'm your illustrious host, Professor Lake, in the building, fresh out the kitchen. Be a Fourth Quarter Boy for life. Hit that notification bell, like, comment, share, subscribe. All right, let's get into it. So when you look at the Seattle Seahawks, you're looking at a team that's headed by an all-pro quarterback, Russell Wilson, a Super Bowl winning quarterback. You know, one of his strengths is that he's able to extend plays, and, you know, by doing that, he makes his receivers a lot better than what they really are. Sometimes I wonder if he has to scramble because these receivers are covered, you know, early on in the play. And by being able to use his mobility to extend the play, allows time for the receivers to get open. He's definitely capable of coming back from a deficit and winning a game. We've seen that happen so many times with Russell Wilson. So he's definitely a quarterback that you're going to have to stay on top of for 4 quarters. There's no letting up. You got to stay on top of Russell Wilson. Because I'm not going to compare him to Aaron Rodgers and say he's just as good, but he is an elite quarterback that knows how to win games. He knows how to win games. And this is something that Mitchell Trubisky is going to have to learn how to do, is to win the games, which involves coming out strong and then finishing in the second half. Now, we also got at the wide receiver position, a guy that we're familiar with, Brandon Marshall. He has size. I'm not sure about his speed at his age right now. I'm sure the wily veteran has techniques to get himself some space to catch a ball for Russell Wilson. He's a red zone threat because of his size and his height and his athletic ability. And one of the things a lot of people don't take in consideration is that this is one of the times he's finally playing with an elite quarterback. So, barring an injury, this could be one of Brandon Marshall's best seasons. Doug Baldwin, I think, is out with a knee injury, so you're going to see a lot of Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is a smaller slot type of receiver, but he does have speed and can get downfield. He's a shiftier wide receiver. So I really think that the Bears are going to have to, again, you know, be better in coverage. And don't take these receivers lightly. Russell Wilson is the type of quarterback that can extend plays. And these guys have the athletic ability, you know, to make plays on the ball. Coverage has got to be solid against these receivers. There are 2 major weaknesses that I can see when I look at the Seattle Seahawks roster and what they've been able to do in the first game and as well as last season. Their running game is very poor, and their offensive line is just not performing well. A lot of times you'll see Russell Wilson get flushed out the pocket and have to make plays on the run, not by design, but just because the pressure is coming, and that'll be the only way he can get the ball out of his hands. And again, the running game isn't that great, and I'm sure a lot of it has to do with poor offensive line play. I really look for our defensive line to take advantage of this situation. Okay, so defensively, I'm not going to be real long-winded about it, but Seattle's coming in here with an all-pro linebacker, Bobby Wagner. Got a tremendous respect for his game. He might be one of the best linebackers in the NFL right now. I'm interested to seeing how Nagy is going to use Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen to kind of get past this, because that's definitely an advantage for the Seattle Seahawks. A guy that you're going to have to account for in short yardage and goal line situations. Not to say that I don't want you to run the ball in situations like that, but he has to be accounted for. Earl Thomas at safety, another Pro Bowler. I'm not sure if he's an All-Pro, but he's a well-respected safety in the NFL. He might be one of the best safeties in the NFL. But he's going to control the secondary. I think he could get some of these guys at cornerback on the same page and play decent coverage for the Seattle Seahawks. This is the defense that a lot of guys didn't have faith in when they lost Richard Sherman and Michael Bennett. But with the rotation at defensive line, I think they're able to get past some of these losses. Don't take their defense lightly. They have an unknown potential with this new defense and some of these new players. They got Deion Jordan at defensive end as well, a guy that was a first-round draft pick. He didn't do a lot with the Dolphins, but Pete Carroll likes these first-round draft picks, and he thinks he could do something with Deion Jordan. So we'll see, how good this Seattle Seahawks defense is without Michael Bennett, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor. Now, when we talk about the Chicago Bears, offensively, I won't get too in-depth with individual players. There are a couple guys I will mention, and we'll just talk about what I expect to see from these guys and out the offense during this next game. One of the major things I wanted to state was that the Bears need to stop being so cute in play design and sometimes just line up and execute man on man and get these guys to the next level and pick up the yards you need. You shouldn't have to run a trick play to get 1 yard. That's the point I'm trying to make. Allen Robinson and Trey Burton, they must have a bigger impact on the offense. I want to see them get more catches, get more yards as well. We've seen a bright spot from Allen Robinson in the first half. He had a long catch along the sideline, and just shows a glimpse of what we may see later on in the season as well. So I want to see a little bit more Allen Robinson. I want to see Trey Burton be that security blanket we thought he would be and pick up some first downs from Mitch in critical situations. I want to see more Jordan Howard and a little bit less of Tariq Cohen. I think if you feed Jordan Howard, you'll surprise yourself with some of the big gains he will make. He is capable of breaking a run, maybe not scoring a touchdown, but he'll get you some yards if you feed the man. He's one of these guys that once he gets a lather going, he only gets better and better with the more carries you give him. Tariq Cohen, I want to see a little bit less of him in certain situations. He's a real versatile back. He's very quick. He's a shifty runner. You can use him in the screen game very well. But again, let's man up. Let's get him some open space to operate. And let's hit him with an outside run, a 24 give, a 32 give. Let's see what he can do with it, a sweep play, a zone right, a zone left. So we want to see him work to the outside, but let's just see it be a little bit more straightforward with less trickery. Sometimes the trickery puts defenses on notice, on alert, and they're less likely to react in the negative way you're expecting them to. Now, our main man, True, my main thing is that I think he needs to relax in critical situations. When the pressure is on, he needs to find out how he can get to that peaceful, poised perspective so that he can make quick decisions, accurate decisions in critical situations. Again, I just thought he looked a little timid in that second half. He came out really nicely in the first half, but a lot of guys don't seem to understand that the mark of a true winner is being able to come out strong in the first half and be able to finish a team off in the second half. You have to have a better game in the second half than you do in the first half. to finish teams off. As for our coach, Matt Nagy, on the offensive side of the ball, again, I just think he needs to have a better game plan for the second half. He needs to be able to predict some of the adjustments teams might make to his offense and be able to finish a team off as well, as does Mitchell Trubisky need to learn this. So I think this will come a time. I think the Green Bay game was a learning experience for both Matt Nagy and Mitchell Trubisky in terms of finishing the game off. Situational decision making, I thought was questionable. Again, this just goes back to the being a little too cute when it's not necessary. Lining up an offensive tackle out wide, it's just not necessary. Man up. Again, I want to talk about trusting Jordan Howard to make big plays. You know, we've seen him do it with our own eyes. Every run play is not going to go for 4 yards. You know, you'd like that to happen, but again, when our offensive line is not road grading and a lot of these runs are coming because of cutbacks, you know, you really got to take a look at what you're trying to get out your line in order to get good production from the running back. But I think that Jordan Howard is the perfect running back for the system. I just think you need to feed him a little bit more, trust him in short yardage, trust him in goal line. So when the Bears played Green Bay Packers, you know, we had no answers for Green Bay's defensive adjustments. You know, you could tell that they stopped playing man and they played zone and they were just kind of keeping the receivers' routes in front of them. You would think that an offensive coordinator of Matt Nagy's ilk would be able to be versatile enough, flexible enough to prepare for such a game change and to run plays that attack the zone. So just better game planning for zone coverage. I hope they cover that in practice this week. On the defensive side of the ball for the Bears, you know, I want to see them keep the same intensity that they had in the first half of the Green Bay game for 4 quarters of the Seattle game. They have to. In order to keep a guy like Russell Wilson down, you got to stay on him for 4 quarters, or you'll give him a sliver of opportunity to come back like Aaron Rodgers did last week. Fuller must make big plays. You have a quarterback that's willing to throw you the ball right in the breadbasket. You need to make that play, Kyle Fuller. You got to make that play. Now, that was pretty good coverage when you got beat along the sideline. In my opinion, I saw the guy push you off a little bit. You know, had it been my squad, I would have said it was a good no call. But I seen that late shove, and that was all the space he needed to make that corner of the end zone catch. But this cannot continue to happen. Prince Amukamara needs to be a little bit more solid in coverage, a little bit tighter. I don't know if he's injured, but I'd like to see a little bit more out of Prince. Floyd must be a factor. I seen him hopping around in the Green Bay game. You know, I really think this club is hindering his pass rush, but somehow Floyd must be a factor, or you just need pressure from the other defensive end position opposite of Khalil Mack. So that could be Acho, that could be Aaron Lynch or Leonard Floyd. Either one of these guys, you need to benefit from having a guy like Mack on your team. Defensive line must stay on Russell Wilson's heels. Enough said. Let's keep the pressure up. And I'd like to see the linebackers be better in coverage. I've seen a lot of Nick Kwiatkowski trailing running backs, trailing tight ends, letting them turn the corner to get extra yak. A guy like Russell Wilson is looking for linebackers like that to exploit. If Russell Wilson takes off, I don't think Nick Kwiatkowski will be able to do anything about it. So that's the Chicago Bears, Seattle Seahawks game preview. I'm predicting that the Bears will win this game at home game opener at that. I think we'll be able to sustain intensity throughout the game. And I think we look at the Green Bay game as a learning experience on how they need to finish their opponents off. Let's not let that mistake happen again. So, with that in mind, I'll probably go live a little bit later on tonight for you guys that work that overnight shift, for you creeps that can't go to sleep. I'll be here for you. Probably do this live stream tonight, man. Look for me to post up about 11 o'clock. So, you know what it is, man. It is Fourth Quarter Boy Sports. I am your illustrious host, Professor Lake. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Be a Fourth Quarter Boy for life. For life, man. Hit that notification bell. I'll holler at y'all a little bit later, man. Bear down. I'm out.
Interception. Oh, what a nail! As Jonathan Bostic just separated Mike Willie from the football.